Okay, so here's our finished hull. All I've done is remove the tape from that last step. Everything's glued up nicely. We just do have the very front of the bottom plate sitting proud of the sides. I'll try and get that in shot. There we go. So all we've got to do is sand that down, flush with the top edge of these sides, right the way across, and our hull is finished. So we'll go ahead and sand that off. If you're sanding it, filing that by hand, sand it towards the back. That just helps avoid peeling it off or anything silly like that. I've got a little belt sander here that I use, and it works a treat. So we'll go to that and come back. So as you can see there, that it's been sanded right back nice and flush. So you end up with a flat spot along here. Now if you find that your curve didn't quite match the curve of the side plate, you can sand this. You can sand the plastic. I'd advise starting out with something about 600 grit wet sandpaper and then finishing off with a 1200 grit. Just remember that where those grooves are on the inside, that is only 1mm thick of plastic left on. So don't get too aggressive with your sanding, but you can touch that up if you need to. And then all we've got to do is sand the sharp edge off the bottom there, this little back corner, bottom edge of the back, same in that corner, and the bottom edge right along that side. We sand all those sharp edges off. I just use a piece of 150 grit, and then yeah, that's our hull completely done. Okay, so here's our cabin. All I've done is remove the tape from last time. So that's all joined up, glue's nicely dry. We're going to put our doublers on. Now the doublers are these two pieces here that have the round corners. So they're going to go on the outside of the sides like that. And that gives that double layer to the windows. So when we glue these on, we're going to line them up flush with this window sills and flush with each end. Before we get to gluing, we've got to pull this protective film off on both sides. So we'll go do that and come back. Okay, so I've taken the protective film off this, and I've got a little bit of glue sticking out from where those tabs for the front and back joined in. So we want to get rid of that glue so that the doubler panel can sit down nice and flat. So we'll just give that a bit of a sand up. None of this underneath the windows, none of this is seen. So feel free to scratch it up with sandpaper as much as you like. Just don't go above the windowsill height. Okay, so now that I've got rid of that bit of glue there, and that's nice and flat, and this is going to sit on there nice and flat, perfect there. We can get some tape strips ready, get your glue ready. And what we're going to do is just a bead of glue on the doubler or here, doesn't matter. About 3mm in from the outside, a strip down the middle. We're going to tape it over both ends, and if we need to, we tape it in the middle. So we'll get that ready. Okay, so I'll glue it on here just so it's easier for you guys to see. Just keeping in from those edges a little bit, just so we don't end up with any glue squirting out. Now make sure you get the right side. And like we did with the hull, just wobble it around a bit, get that glue spread out. Just watch you don't push too hard down in here and crack above that doorway again. Piece of tape on the end. tape on that end. And now we're just going to slide it up and down till we get it nice and perfect flush with that windowsill. Once again, just get those couple of bits of tape on there just to hold it so that it doesn't slide around all over the place. Now if you get a bit of a gap between the doubler and the side of the cabin, just throw a piece of tape over it just to pull it up tight. This one's sitting pretty good. A little bit loose on the bottom there, so we'll throw a piece over there. Biggest thing is, so long as we're nice and flush along that windowsill and on the front and the back. If you do have any excess glue like I just had there, get it while it's soft now, because it's a royal pain in the rear to clean while it is hard once it's dried. So we're all happy with that side. Make sure that's nice and clean, no lumps, no dust, no crap on it. And the same thing again. Wiggle that around a bit, helps spread that glue. Just be careful about that doorway. And just slide it up and down and forward and back as you need to get that nice and flush. Make sure it's tight. And once that's done, once you're happy with that, we can leave that. Okay, so while our cabin's drying, we can carry on and get this hatch taken care of. Now you'll have your hatch with the writing and the crosshatch pattern on the outside of it. The protective film is on the underside of that part. And then you'll have these 4 tiny weeny little doodads. Now, believe it or not, 2 corners of those are square and 2 corners are slightly rounded. And they do have film on them. These ones, I prefer to put the film side down. So you peel it off, and the rounded corners go in towards the text, and they sit half over. It's not going to balance there. Oh, there we go. Half over, the bottom in line with the bottom of the Mound Min box, and the top in line with the top of the Tonka toy box. Here's a completed one to show you. So those 2 parts are half on the hatch, half hanging over, and in line with the top with the 2 text boxes. So we can take 2 of these. 2 of them are spares in case you drop them, lose them. Thought I'd throw them in there. Don't need them, throw them away. So we could take the film off these 2 small parts, taking note of which side you've got the film on. Film side down. So film side down on both of those, and the little round corners go in towards the text. Now these are a little bit tricky to glue, but what I've found is if you glue on the bottom of the part, and like we did with the cabin sides, we slide it on towards that way, towards the inside, towards the text. And that will mean any extra glue squirts out the back rather than where we can see it. So all we're doing is just getting it straight. And in line with those boxes. So once we've got one, if you've got long nose pliers or tweezers and you need to use those, just go for it. So we'll leave those to dry like that. Now, you'll usually end up with a bead of glue on the back side. We will need to clean that up so that the hatch sits nicely in its hole, but we'll leave that till the glue's completely gone off. Now that's the hatch taken care of. Okay, so we've got our finished hull and we've got our finished deck, and guess what? Now it's time to put them together. So we'll take off all our protective film from both parts, so this whole deck area, around the railings, around this front piece, and any masking tape that you've got left sitting on it, get rid of all that, and we'll get ready to put that together. Okay, so that's all our protective film off. Now hopefully you got these formers all around the right way earlier, because these two tabs from the centre ones are now going to line up with these two tab slots in the deck. So there we have that. So we'll do a dry fit first, make sure that fits nicely, and then we can go ahead and take that off and glue it. Just be careful popping that off. When we glue this, we're going to glue down the formers, down the side formers, small bead of glue across the top. You don't want it spilling out the outside. Same on the back. You don't want the glue spilling out the outside. But this area here is got the hatch open in it. So all we want is a couple of little blobs on the very back just to help hold this piece. And you can put a little blob just in front of that tab just to help here. So I'm going to glue right along the former top, not the outside part, just the former part. That stops any glue coming out. Right along there. Very carefully, thin bead glue right along there. Right along the former again. Once again, nice thin bead on the top of the tip here, and then top of that former, in the middle here, little blob at the back, and right at the very back. And then all we do is line it up over one set. Get that pushed down nicely on those slots. Now carefully, with your tape, go underneath your railing as far back as you can. Stick that on nicely. And then pull the deck down hard to the hull and take that round. try and do it the other way around. So under the railing, all the way back, stick it down and pull that deck down to the hull, tape it. And we'll do the same exact thing at the front, under that railing, all the way forward. Pull it down hard, tape it off. Right, so you should be nice and tight all the way along there, at the back, at that side and at the front. So that's our hull and deck together, sorted, job done. So back to our cabin now. In the time it's taking you to do your hatch and your hull and deck, this should have tacked off enough not to move around. So we just double check whether that's moving around or not. If it is, give it a bit longer. If it's not, you're good to go. So we can take that tape off. And we can remove our protective films from the front, back and our doublers. So now it should be starting to look nice and shiny. Right, so that's all those removed. Now what we've got to do is just give this a quick sand up before we mate it to the deck, just because it's a lot easier to get to and you're less likely to break any railings, slipping or anything like that. So we're going to sand right around all four edges of the roof line. Underneath we're going to do the front and back edges as well. And then we're going to do sand these little curves just down to where the doubler is. So that front, back, there. You can sand around these windows if you'd like to. Personally, I don't bother. I don't think it needs it. Just to take off those sharp edges off the outsides of it, really. So that's just once again with the 150 grit sandpaper that we used earlier. Give that a quick sand up and we'll come back and stick it to the deck. Alright, so we've got our deck back. That's still gluing up. That's not going to move. We've got our cabin that we've sanded up now. And we can test dry fit this. So the two tabs going in the two slots on both sides. So I just line up one side, get that in there, and the other side should just pop in like that, just like that. So now you've got something that's looking like a houseboat. So all we're going to do now is we're just going to glue that and sit it on there. So I just glue just along the sides of the side, not the doubler, just along the sides. That stops it squishing to the outside again. So just a little bit back, middle and at the front. Same on the other side. Don't worry about the front or back, doesn't need it. Bring our deck back. And just like we dry fitted it, line one side up and then just pop it in the other side. Give it a bit of a push down. So there we have a houseboat all done, just about. We just got a couple of finishing touches to do. We'll give this overnight to dry and then we'll come back and do those couple of finishing touches and then we're done.